have? Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Face in your face.
What the hell is going on down there?
Face in your face.
Hey guys, it's Mizzy, and I'm a mixed girl in a mixed up world. Welcome to the live show. Good morning. Whew, I am here. I almost wasn't. My computer wasn't getting up and running. So I see there's only one person here. So I'll wait for some people to trickle in. Hey, Polly Pocket, how's it going? How are you? Thank you for coming. It's probably going to be a very small room. I think most people will watch this on the replay, so I appreciate you being here. Just getting up the Zoom so I can get it on the screen. Give me 1 second. How are you today? So I'm just getting the Zoom finalized so I can get it on in a couple minutes. It's going goodish, just goodish. Yeah, it's too early to start. Yeah, I've been dealing with headaches too. Yeah, I don't know if you know, I've talked about this a little bit more on the show that I get migraines, and I get Botox for my migraines, and yeah, it's been like I'm like 4 weeks over past when I normally get them because there was a couple mix-ups, and then my doctor's been sick, so I'm struggling myself. But I'm here, gonna get this Zoom up, and so good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for coming. Oh, the Zoom is popping up. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear. I'm so sorry to hear that. That's awful. Come on, so I've just been having a crazy morning. My computer wasn't booting up. I had to keep shutting it down and rebooting it. It's been a crazy morning. Okay. So, how are you guys today? How is everyone this morning? I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, so, that's so. I'm so sorry. I deal with health issues, and my heart goes out to you. Yeah. It's like I normally it's part of it is because it's so early for me, and I normally get up. I would normally start getting my computer on like at 2 hours before, just so I can get everything up. So it was a rush this morning, and just it was not booting, and um yeah. So today, this is the hearing for Robert Devine, for the post commission. We're going to hopefully get a date for when he goes in front of the post commission, and so that would be exciting because we want to get this rolling. We want to get his license pulled. This man does not deserve to hold a license. I know he can't operate as a police officer right now, but he still technically has his license, and we want this license gone. So I believe the judge said last time that he would get 2 more hearings, like basically the last pretrial hearings, and then he'll go before the post commission. So I'm hoping that we get that today. So, and then I have some announcements. I think I've said them before. Today's the post commission, and then April 15th we have a standout at 9:00 at the Moakley courthouse in Boston. It's for Matthew Farwell's hearing. It's at we're going to be there at 9. The hearing's at 10. Make sure if you come, you bring your ID because they won't let you in, and they do confiscate your cell phone. They put it in little cubbies for you because they don't allow cell phones in federal buildings unless you're a reporter or a lawyer. I might try to reload this because it's just not. It's not. Got 5 minutes to get this up, so I apologize, everyone. The page just isn't loading for the hearing, so I'm trying to get that up and running. Good morning, Barb. How are you? Yeah, exactly. Yes, 9 a.m. on April 15th at the Moakley courthouse. Yes. Let me go back to this. Yeah. Oops, not Barbara's. This one. Yeah, I mean, and we can do both at the same time. I am part of Free Karen Read. I just focus more on this because Sandra is my number one focus, but we can do both. We can we could fight for Karen and also fight for Sandra. We're fighting against the same people. So come on. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to get the Zoom up and working. Oh, come on. I apologize, guys. I hate technology. Yeah, I know it hasn't. I know it hasn't started yet. It's just it wasn't loading. Um, it was just spinning. So I'll just keep an eye on that. Let me do this so I can at least just get it on the screen. So I can watch it here. So hopefully that'll be up soon. And we can get it going. Yeah, Garino is absolutely useless. Absolutely. I mean, half of that office is useless, but he's definitely one of, absolutely useless. Barb, you said you have it up too on your the Zoom up. Is yours just spinning right next? Oh, never mind.
I believe we have everyone, Judge Fishman.
Seems that way.
Yes, so I think we're good to get started. Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. The time is 9:29 a.m. And this is a pre-hearing conference, in the matter of Robert Devine before the Massachusetts Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission. We are convening remotely over Zoom, and this pre-hearing conference is open to the public and is being recorded. The Honorable Kenneth J. Fishman will be the presiding officer over today's pre-hearing conference. My name is Lizzie Smith, and I'm the hearings administrator for the Post Commission. And this matter is now before Judge Fishman.
Good morning again, and if council would simply state their appearances.
Sean Martinez for the Post Commission's Division of Standards.
Robert Stowe on behalf of Robert Devine, who is present with us today.
All right. So we scheduled this with the hopes that having provided the parties with more time to examine additional discovery that was received, to look through that material, see whether it's provided a lot of new information or was essentially duplicative of what you've seen in the past, and also with the expectation that today we would be able to finally schedule an actual hearing in this matter and preliminary hearings if necessary for motions, etc. So, Mr. Stowe, why don't you tell us where you stand on the discovery issue?
Yes, I did receive the information. I did go through it. I have found nothing really that's different than what was already been produced. I think we're ready. I did talk to Attorney Martinez yesterday, and I think we're ready to get a couple of dates, final pretrial, a motion in camera date, and a hearing date.
Okay.
I think we're ready to go.
All right. And is it fair to say that you anticipate on behalf of the respondent refiling several motions, substantive motions?
I do. Some motions in limine. That's essentially it.
Okay.
And I would request those be heard in camera. And I also had a question about filing those motions because I will be referencing some of the information that is subject to the protective order. And I didn't know the best way to accomplish maintaining the privacy or the integrity of the order and also getting the information to Your Honor that I'm opposing or moving to limit.
Do you also, before I ask Mr. Martinez to comment on that, do you also anticipate a need to have any portion of the actual hearing in camera, if you will?
I think there's documents and evidence that should be held in camera.
Mhm.
and not disclosed. I think Attorney Martinez and I have discussed that. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think there are portions of it that probably should be withheld without referencing what they are, and not produced as in the general public. With that said, I defer to Attorney Martinez.
So, Mr. Martinez,
Yes, I think that that's accurate. I expect that, for example, cross-examining witnesses, I do expect there to be clear breaking points when we get into, the substance of the documents where we could close the hearing if needed. I do expect that any witnesses that testify would likely be confronted with exhibits, and within the post regulations there seems to be a preference to keep written documents confidential, especially when they're exhibits to the hearing. And I think that it's realistic once we're cross-examining witnesses to sort of give a signal, this is the time when we're going to be getting into the substance of the documents, and those portions would likely be preferable for both sides to be closed.
it would be helpful to think as we're preparing for this that to the extent both sides can do that, that you alert us ahead of time as to what documents will fall into that category. So just in the heat of a hearing, sometimes it's better if we all know where the sensitivity is in those matters that may be subject to the protective order as well.
Yes.
Yes, we've actually discussed basically the 5 major issues of evidence that we think are relative to the hearing. Whether or not they're admissible is not is not agreed upon, but we've identified 5 major areas that we think that there might be some issues of confidentiality that should be raised. So,
Right. Well, we'll at least at the final pretrial, we ought to be able to identify those, and again, so we can be prepared for that when it comes up during the course of the hearing. So let's do this. Let's work backwards. Let's try to get a hearing date, and then we can fill in the other dates that we need in terms of a final pre-hearing conference and a motions hearing date. Lizzie and I were talking shortly before we went online with you folks about an appropriate time. Do you think that a May date is feasible for the parties?
I am not. I have a products liability trial / negligence case that's supposed to start in May, and it should go for about a week. It's starting on May 12th. I'm sorry, my final pretrial is May 12th. It's starting on the 18th. I'm on the 19th. I'd like to stay away from that date because it involves about 12 witnesses and experts and things along that line. So I'd like to stay away from kind of the middle of May. So if I could go into June.
Mr. Stowe and I yesterday, when we spoke, did actually sort of outline a potential schedule, and we're working out what the times that we thought we needed for each step in the process. What I came up with was either late May or that first or second week of June. And I'm happy to walk through the sort of the proposed timelines that we discussed yesterday.
No, that'd be very helpful. Why don't you go ahead and do that?
So we had proposed finalizing, our initial witness and exhibit list, as well as the form of the exhibits within 3 weeks. Having those to each other so that we can do the best motions in limine as possible without having to revisit any issues, which would take us to April 8th. The motions in limine 2 weeks after that. The oppositions to the motion in limine a week after that. And then potential arguments on the motions and a final conference 2 weeks after that. And then the hearing, picking a hearing date, or if we need to adjust the hearing date, that would take place at that final conference or motion arguments, which if we stuck to the timeline would be in the, sort of the middle of May.
Well, the middle of May is when Mr. Stowe has a problem, right?
Correct.
So that could, I guess that could potentially be either the week following his trial or the week before. I imagine that trial prep may be an issue, but either the week following or the week before, and then I don't think we'd need very much time after that final conference to prepare for a hearing. I mean, we'd be preparing for the hearing over the following 2 months regardless.
This is a little unusual. I'm going to have you just stay put. There's one date I'm concerned about for my own schedule, but I need to check on that. So it's not that I'm leaving because I don't want to talk to you, but hang on 1 minute. All right. Thank you. So just as we're scheduling things, I know that I'm unavailable from, let's say, like June 8th to the 18th. So those days are out. And then or sometime in early July as well. I think sometime after July 4th, something like the 7th or something like that for a week. So other than that, I will make sure I make myself available. And then we'll also work around the scheduling as affects all the other stuff the commission has scheduled, but and Mr. Stowe's trial. So having said that, do you think we can accomplish all that needs to be done pre-hearing the earlier part of May to far enough away that we don't get right up against Mr. Stowe's trial?
I do.
Okay.
I think so.
All right. So when you did all these 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week calculation, did you put dates on that?
I did this morning. We didn't yesterday, but I did this morning.
Yeah, I didn't see the dates, but if I have the dates, I can confirm them right now.
Yeah, why don't you do that, Mr. Martinez?
So the witness and exhibit list, along with proposed copies of the exhibits that would be admitted, would be April 8th.
Okay.
The motions in limine would be April 22nd. The oppositions or responses would be April 29th. And then I had written down potentially 2 weeks after that would be the arguments or final pre-hearing conference. But if we move that to the week forward, it would be May 6th. The week preceding that trial.
So May 6th for the final hearing, you're saying?
The final pre-conference.
Final.
Yeah, final pre-conference. And if there need to be oral arguments on the motions.
Okay. So as a practical matter, we'd bump up. Well, as you said, but after that, there's no reason this hearing itself can't be scheduled shortly after, as long as I've had enough opportunity to review and decide those motions ahead of time.
Right.
I'm just trying to be sensitive to tell me the start date, Mr. Stowe, again, when you have your trial.
I'll go back to May. I think it's the 19th.
19th. Oh, okay.
Final free trial is the 12th. My trial starts on the 19th.
So what if we, well, what do you folks suggest for the actual hearing date then?
I suggest, I know you're away, either the first week of June or, when you come back, I guess it would be the week of the 22nd of June.
Yeah, I'd like to not do it quite that late. So, where's your trial by? Is Superior Court?
Yeah, Norfolk Superior.
Okay.
It's going on, it's scheduled to go on at the same time as the Karen Reed case, which is the same courthouse. So I don't know what's gonna happen if it gets continued or what, but I don't think it's going to get continued. It's been scheduled since last year.
I don't know, I sat as Raj in that courthouse for years, so that they can have two trials going on at the same time, even though the Reed case is pretty and involves a fair amount of interest. So what about that first week in June?
I believe that that should work for me.
I have the 5th and the 6th of the first week work for me. The other days I have something scheduled.
Well, give me a look into your crystal ball and tell me how long you think this hearing will last.
So we had discussed yesterday, I would expect the only witnesses that may be up in the air right now would be mostly authentication witnesses to authenticate evidence. I anticipate that the division would be able to be a little creative, possibly getting written authentication. But if those witnesses were needed to testify, that's the only reason that I would think that could extend this hearing. But I do think at most the hearing would be a day to a day and a half. I know that Mr. Stowe had proposed a couple witnesses. We haven't talked about what the substance of those witnesses, what they would be offering. However, it sounds like at most there'd be 5 witnesses, not including the authentication witnesses. And I think realistically a day and a half is not unreasonable for that.
I mean, 5 witnesses between you.
Correct.
Okay. So what about using the 5th and 6th? Actually, I should be talking to Lizzie now. Are those dates, do they look available to us?
Yes, those are fine. And just to confirm, the hearing would be in person at the Post Commission office?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that works.
Mr. Stowe, you comfortable with that?
I am.
All right. So it's the June 5th.
And in terms of start date, or start time, sorry, Attorney Stowe, where are you coming from?
I'm in Boston. I'm in West Roxbury.
Oh, okay. So does 10 o'clock a.m. work for everyone?
Yes.
Mr. Klein, does that work for you?
Yep, that's certainly good for me. That's good. I like the fact we have a bit of a break between our final conference and potential hearing on motions in limine and the hearing itself in case there are issues that need some time to decide. So, Lizzie, did you get all those dates?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay, just to review the finalizing the lists and copies of exhibits, April 8th, motions in limine, cert filed on April 22nd, oppositions filed a week later on April 29th, a final conference on May 6th, and the actual hearing itself on June 5th to June 6th.
Now, Your Honor, the May 6th date for the final pretrial conference, will that be in camera? Will that be, because I suspect we'll be discussing evidentiary issues that will be involved.
I'm sure we will. We may want to do this in person to the extent there are documents I need to see, that rather than having them all where I'm speaking to you from right now. Why don't we do that in person on May 6th at the Post Commission hearing room? All right.
Sure. What time, Judge Fishman?
10 is also good for me then. Does that work for both of you?
Yes.
Actually, sorry, on the 6th, we do have a pre-hearing conference in the morning. Would the afternoon be okay for the parties?
Afternoon would be better for me.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
I just, as long as we leave enough time for any hearing on the motions itself, if,
Sure.
I think that'll be right. What time do you usually start up there for afternoon hearings?
So we don't have anything after like noon, so we could do any time after that. Would 1 p.m. be okay for the parties?
That
Council,
works for me.
okay, 1 o'clock. Are there any, now, don't, as you would, you two are very conscientious and I appreciate that. But if there are issues that arise in the course of this preparation that need attention earlier on, don't hesitate to contact us for the purpose of scheduling something that isn't on our schedule right now. I don't have any, I'm not imagining any particular issue, but I don't want to hear about it at the final conference that jeopardizes the hearing date itself, okay?
Okay.
As far as filing motions, Your Honor, what is the best way to file it to maintain the integrity of the protective order?
Well, let me put it this way. For any motion that you remotely think may be contain information subject to a protective order, you need to file those in the how are we receiving those, Lizzie, at this point?
We received them via email with a copy to the other party. So if you email the post review email, that's the one that I've been sending emails out, you can just file it that way, and I'll make sure it gets to Judge Fishman.
All right, but why don't you indicate specifically on there, identify it as attaching documents that are sensitive to the confidentiality requirements?
Okay.
All right. Any other matters you think we ought to be thinking about at this point?
The only other matter from the division's perspective is that I did relate to Mr. Stowe yesterday the sort of the route, the potential route that could resolve this case without a hearing. The only way that I saw it being resolved. The last date for that, because the agreements need to be approved by the commission. The commission's May meeting is May 15th, and materials are due a week before then. So the last opportunity to resolve this case without a hearing would be May 8th. And we need to have a agreement at that point.
This will be a hearing.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Certainly entitled to a hearing. I don't have a problem with that. Sometimes circumstances change, so even if it's a date we have no need for, let's just attach a date to it so that the circumstances change. So literally you're saying, Mr. Martinez, in order to do this, you'd need to have an agreement in place by May 8th?
Yes, that's correct.
So let's put that as a date for the filing of any agreement concerning resolution of this matter in advance of the hearing, having in mind that it sounds extremely unlikely that that's going to happen. So, all right. Any other matters?
Judge Fishman, just before we conclude, the parties, when submitting any motions related to the protective order, please just indicate that, please indicate in the subject line of the email, just that the motion may have like protected information, so we can be clear.
Yeah, just that's true. Just alert, because you don't know how these things flow through the system occasionally. So we want to be right on top of that. That's a good idea.
Agreed.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll, I guess we next see each other on May 6th.
Thank you.
In person.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Muted. Sorry about that. I was muted. We got a date for when he goes in front of the Post Commission, June 5th and 6th. is when he will be going in front of the post commission. We finally have a date. Hopefully he will be losing his license not too long after. I want to go back and kind of join the conversation you guys were having in the chat. Where should I start? Before I do that, I just want to say how I hate using the word exciting, but I'm excited that we finally have a date for him to lose his license. You know, it's been a long time coming. You know, yes, they all were suspended, so they can't operate as an officer right now. But the fact that he still has his license is despicable. I can't believe it's been going on this long. But you know, we finally have that date, and I'm so happy. You know, I know this is something that's been bothering the family, that he still has his license. I know, I mean, Barb, it's got to bother you greatly. I know some other family members have said that it bothers them that he still has his license. Okay, let me scroll back up because there is part of the conversation I wanted to jump in on. Let me start here. Barb, incompetence at any stage of an investigation of a sudden death is unacceptable. That is so true. And sadly, it happens in a lot of places. Almost every case that I covered, you know, before I started with the Sandra Birchmore case, there was, but is it incompetence? You know, are they just that inept, or is it, you know, are they doing this by design? And sometimes it could go either way. But, you know, I just look at it. If you don't want to be, you know, a detective, if you don't want to be a police officer, then don't be a police. I mean, if you can't do the work that's expected of you, don't be a police officer. I know, like, you know, there are, well, it depends on where you are. You know, in some places there aren't a lot of these cases, but we know that there are a lot of cases, and sometimes, you know, murders go unsolved, but there's a lot that it's just, you know, they don't do simple things. Like in Sandra's case, you know, one of the things I think that is egregious, they didn't interview all her friends. The people that they interviewed, it was, most of them were the people, her coworkers and people who actually called them. It's horrible to have, you know, that done. Let me see this. No, there's something else. Yeah. I mean, how bad is that, that you have to, like, she had to lay everything out for them to, and then for them to not even solve her crime. You know, she's the one who's saying, hello, you know, look at what happened over here. So it's egregious that what happened to Sandra. Let me see. Barb. They couldn't even agree on what the ligature was exactly. Talk about incompetence. I know, like, that is one of the things that, like, blows my mind about those the reports from Canton Police Department. Like, it was a string or a rope, it was a scarf, or, you know, a belt, a strap. It's like, you're grown-ass men. You guys can't tell what the ligature is? That was ridiculous. It's laughable. It would be laughable if it wasn't, you know, the murder of a young woman. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Me too. It's still unbelievable to me. Me too. It's like, how the hell did we get here? You know, like seeing her injuries, which they could see, they should have known right away this wasn't. She didn't do this to herself. It's crazy. So, does anybody have any questions or comments about, we got a date for Robert Devine's actual post-commission hearing. June 5th and 6th at 10 a.m. They will be in person. I have to find out if, I assume they stream those. I'm going to look more into it because I've never, streamed these. But we finally have a date for him. And hopefully on April 15th, we will get a date for Matthew. That would be, if we could have both of these dates for their, Robert Devine's hearing, which in front of the board, it's, we still don't have any charges against the other men. It's only Matthew at this moment, but this is such a big step. This is something, by having this date and him hopefully losing his license, that's a victory for the family and loved ones of Sandra. It's a small victory, but it's a victory. It takes away that last step of, them losing their license to be police officers. They're losing their right to be police officer. I mean, they had lost their right to be a police officer years ago, but it's still that little piece of, him being able to hold on to that honor of being a police officer, even though his license is suspended at the moment. It's like lingering in the distance. And that will be a big victory, for him to lose his license. So I fully agree, Barb. It's gonna be quite the summer. We're gonna probably have hearings for Matthew all summer. And then, we'll be hopefully getting this done in June. It'll be a late birthday gift to Sandra, if he loses his license on June 6th. I mean, I don't see how the commission could, allow him to keep his license, but we'll see. Yeah, he's a menace to society. He definitely is. And so Barb, will you be there at the Moakley on April 15th? I assume you're going. I got to talk to, we'll talk about rides and stuff after, but yeah, I'm going to. My brother and his family are coming into town that week, and so most certainly gonna try. We'll get you there. We'll get you there. So my brother's coming to town with his kids and his wife, and so my dog might have to be in the crate all day. I'm like, I told him I'm not missing it. I am not missing it. So she just has to sit in the crate for the rest of the day. Sorry, I can't talk. It's too early for me. I just have to arrange transportation because I can't drive anymore. My eyes aren't good. Mine either. I can't drive either. So I take the bus down, which is easier anyway if you with all the traffic in Boston now. Looking forward to meeting all of you. Yeah, looking forward to meeting you too. We'll be there at like 9 o'clock out front, and hopefully the press will be there. I will send out a reminder to everybody. Hopefully we can get a couple cameras there. I know, it'll be a week after the Karen Read trial has started. So I don't know if, I don't even know if they'll have a jury yet at that point. But so, yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait for, this hearing, and hopefully we get a date that day, because the judge did say that the judge said she wanted both parties to come up with a realistic date for the trial. So hopefully we'll get a date that day too. We could be having a good summer and a good fall. Hopefully it's, I think it's either going to be in the fall or early next year. I just don't want it to be in the cold. Maybe this time next year where it's getting warmer. It's not quite as cold. And yeah, hopefully, we'll get another date soon. That would be amazing. We had a couple of cameras last time. Yeah, I'm hoping we get about the same amount. Like I said, but with the Karen Read trial, I don't know if they will. So I know what I want for Christmas already. Yeah. I mean, we might be getting Christmas in July, So yeah, I'm so excited. We got this date finally. And then we will get the other date, hopefully on the June 6th, and not June 6th, April 15th. I was thinking of the post-commission hearing. And then we'll hopefully get Matthew's date and get this trial going. I can't wait to see what's presented at trial and hear, definitely want to hear the medical examiner, the pathologist who reviewed Sandra's case, what he has to say. And, we might be hearing, I'd be interested to see what Fanning has to say when he takes the stand, and, Trooper Dunn and Trooper Garino, all of these guys are going to have to take the stand. So I can't wait. So let me see what Barb's saying. At this time last year, Matthew had not even been arrested. I know. This time last year, we were still trying to claw and get people to come to the page, and now look where we are. It's so exciting. So since there's not anything really going on in here, I don't want to keep people, and I want to go watch the Karen Read hearings myself. So I'm gonna end this. So I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and thank you for oh yes, I gotta say this. Yes, that changed everything. It absolutely did. It was definitely a game changer, and everything shifted. No, thank you guys for all being here. Thank you, Barb. Oops. Yep, I agree. Have a great day. Thank you for being here, Legal Swag. and thank you everybody else who was here, and thank you everybody on the replay. I appreciate everybody who watches this and takes an interest in Sandra's case. It means the world to us. Thank you. Everybody have a wonderful day. Thank you for being here with me, and I'll see you guys on the next live. I will post when that's going to be in very soon. So thank you for watching, everybody. I'm Mizzy, and I'm a mixed girl in a mixed up world. Have a great day.